Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Ronnar, but Boromant's got the inside.
Here in this phenomenal race, Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see there, Putin's the lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name. Good evening, everybody, and a warm welcome to PSGL. We are back live here tonight for one final time on F1 23 and PCF1, and it takes us once again to the United States. Remember, we were in the United States last time, out to Texas. Tonight, though, it's Las Vegas. No better place to really end the season off, really. But it has to be said, all the prizes have been claimed. Mercedes, of course, being crowned champions after last week. Jarno Opmeer, of course, crowned our drivers' champion based on the form from Austria onwards. And, of course, last time out, Freddie Rasmussen taking his first win of the campaign and his third podium to boot this season. So the Great Dane finally managing to park his Red Bull up on the top step. But tonight, it's all about Vegas. My name, of course, George Morgan, your commentator here tonight, and joining me at the very last minute. Big thank you to him for joining us as well. The legend that is Chris Buxton. Chris, welcome back, sir.
An honour and a pleasure to be alongside the George himself. But a great pleasure to be back in PSGL colours for one final time in this season. And yeah, ready and raring to get going. Las Vegas is one of those circuits in sim racing terms. It can be utterly brutal. So looking forward to seeing how our drivers fare around this very young F1 circuit.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting, folks. Let's just take you through some of the facts of tonight. Obviously, driver lineups first and foremost. Thomas Ronha lines up alongside Mirko Siriano, Dylan Warren and Jed Norgrove at AlphaTauri. We've got Jack West and Philip Brejnader at Alpine. Duncan Offland and Fabrizio Donoso at Aston Martin. Nicholas Longe and Istvan Pukki in the Ferrari team. Tamas Gal at Haas with Danny Berejnay. Lucas Blakely and Wilson Hughes once again partnering up, this time at McLaren. And Jarno Opmeer and Jake Benham at Mercedes, as always, the current and reigning PSGL PCF1 champions. Frederick Rasmussen, winner last time out, back at the United States Circuit of COTA. We've also got Shanaka Clay joining him alongside him too. Very fascinating lineup there. Alvaro Caraton, Ishmael Fassi, as always, lining up for Williams. Further on as well, we could take you through some more detail, this time surrounding the standings. Jarno Opmeer, of course, confirmed champion now well and truly. 114 points to his name, well clear of teammate Danny Berejnay from Mercedes, of course, though representing the McLaren outfit in terms of the standings at the moment. Fassi, though, very important night tonight for Ishmael Fassi here, Chris, because he's third in the championship and 1 point behind, potentially P2 in the standings against Berejnay himself.
Oh, the singing Hungarian has got it to do then if he wants to hang on to that second spot. Missing 3 rounds following a disqualification at Canada has really dented his championship charge. But even looking past Ishmael Fassi, Thomas Ronha, he's only a further 2 points back from Ishmael as well. So the challenge is not just those two. Alfie Butcher, not far behind either, although we haven't seen the youngster for a few weeks. And I don't think he's with us this time. No, he's not. So obviously Alfie Butcher's season has come to an end. But yeah, Ronha and Fassi could well claim that second spot, steal it away from Danny Berejnay. Danny has been in the game a long time, almost as long as me, would you believe, as Danny Berejnay. So a lot of experience behind him. He's going to need it to fend off the advances of Ishmael and Ronha.
Certainly will. And also, as you take a look at the calendar and the affair of things, the race results from last time out confirming Freddie Rasmussen as our race winner and Danny Berejnay second, Brendan Lee in third. What a top 5 that is. You can make that what a top 6, what a top 10 even. Some of the GOATs of the current world of F1 esports, several world champions in there. And incredible to note that there is, of course, 5 world champions in that top 10, or 5 world championships in that top 10 as well from last time out. Incredible. But we're going to now head across because we do obviously have a qualifying session to bring you. And first and foremost, we head over to Kota, where qualifying has got underway. Various drivers opting not to go out whatsoever here, Chris. Obviously, a shortened session, as we obviously alluded to, many of the drivers not wanting to take part in qualifying, but many still do. So instead of the usual 3-tier qualifying system, we're now going for that short quali mode.
Very, very rare to see the short quali, the single 18-minute session utilised in PCF1, but here it is being used by roughly half the field, as was it 2, 4, 7 drivers deciding not to take part in this quali session. Absolutely, that is, of course, their choice for this one. I'm a little surprised by that. I would have thought that the drivers would have utilised the opportunity just to turn some more wheels, get some more laps under their belt. As I said before, Las Vegas, the youngest track in the F1 circuit, so that air of familiarity that a lot of drivers like simply isn't there for this track, as I'm keeping an eye on now. Alvaro Carreton nearly sliding into the wall, coming through 14, 15, 16. And, yeah, the old game of DRS chicken, I've seen some, shall we say, interesting utilizations of that. Speaking of Carreton, jumps up to the top of the tree briefly with Fabrizio Donoso taking that top spot, 130.545 for the Aston Martin. A few times getting on the board. There's Istvan Pukki in the Ferrari, 130.473. You can expect that time to really start to fall, but where that's going to shuffle the retired drivers remains to be seen. So will there be a last to first challenge by Lucas Blakely, for instance? That'll be interesting to see. But Ronha, in his challenge for that second place, is also another driver that's parked it. So I was surprised to see that. But as I say, some drivers, like you say, George, opting not to take part in the quali session. So they'll have to take the consequences of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Already going to the top, though. Danny Berejne, that one-lap pace, once again on show, 130.332. Fassi second, with Pukki now relegated down to third. Now, Duncan Hoffland popping his head, though, into the top 4, which is absolutely fantastic to see. Well done to Big Dunk. And Tamas Gal, big news around this young man. Of course, has moved teams as Jake Benham jumps ahead of him into P6. But Tamas Gal signing with R8G, no doubt intentions, I think. Obviously, we know a lot about Tamas Gal. He raced, of course, back at Canada and really took the world by storm, where he joined us on that occasion. I'm hoping we get to see a lot more of him going forward. And obviously, being part of R8G, that will then feed into opportunities with the likes of Haas or maybe even Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, absolutely so. The esports team founded by Romain Grosjean, so it had some pedigree in its early days. It's not a very old team. It's still not a very old team even now. So yeah, that is a huge moment for the youngster. I also the youngster. Everyone's young compared to me. I am a very, very old bear. But Tamas Gal doesn't have the legacy behind him that a number of our other drivers do. And we've seen, haven't we, George, time and again, Tamas Gal can, on his day, just turn up and really make the establishment work around him. He hasn't had the results that's really backed up his talent so far in the season. Of course, only a reserve. We've only seen him 3 times leading up to now. Still managed to come home in the points of Mexico in round 7. And against a field like this, even finishing can often be a success. But to finish inside the top 5, fair play.
Yeah, I mean, going back to Canada, he was, of course, a retirement on that occasion. At DNF, there was a mega collision coming out to the Wall of Champions. But since then, he's made 2 additional appearances. We go back to Saudi Arabia, where, of course, he did manage to finish 14th. But then, of course, you look further on, has managed to score some vital points when finishing where he did at Mexico. So he's no stranger to big results. And I certainly would never, ever want to write him off going forward. So sit tight, everybody. We could be seeing yet another future star in amongst it very, very soon. But nonetheless, great to be here. And we can't wait, obviously, to see who's going to grab pole. A very different system to what we've adopted all season long already. Important to note, though, already 6 drivers retiring from the session. That includes Jack West, Frederick Rasmussen, Philip Prejnader, Nicholas Longay, Dylan Warren, Thomas Ronhart and Lucas Blakely. Incidentally, though, interesting to note, Jarno Opmeer and Jake Benham, Mercedes looking to go out on a high by the looks of it, because they're going to see qualifying through.
Yeah, absolutely. So Shanaka Clay's not wasting any time. He's done his first round, 130.659 sees him into ninth, and he's straight back out on circuit once again. Now, it being a 90-second circuit, it is fairly long in F1 terms, so we hopefully won't see too many opportunities for drivers to trip over each other, although I've seen it numerous times. I've seen it at Spa, the longest circuit in the F1 circuits, and still drivers manage to trip over themselves. So let's talk about this circuit a little bit. Let's talk about some potential trouble spots or at least overtaking opportunities. So turn 5 is going to be the first opportunity after the start-finish straight. Turn 1, not quite as common as you might think, as it is a very, very, very long corner. So there will be chances there, but not as many as other turn 1s in other circuits. Turn 5 is your first heavy braking zone. So that is going to be where you'll see a lot of action and potentially a lot of discarded carbon fiber as well. Through the twisties 6, 7, 8, and 9, unless someone gets it wrong, you're not likely to see an awful lot down there. Turn 12 is your next opportunity. You're working your way through 10 and 11, very fast right and left-handed sweeping turns, and then it is a very slow, very twisty 12. But to get that exit right is so, so crucial. You're then on the gas for a long way, all the way along Las Vegas Boulevard, through turn 13, and then again, big heavy breakers only into 14. So again, the drivers wanting to get the DRS chicken will be played at turn 12, as they do not want to be giving any opportunity away to their opponents. Then 14, 15, 16, very slow corners. You will have some overtaking opportunity there, and then it is a sprint towards the line, which then turn 1 does become again a bit more of an opportunity, but it's not such a heavy braking zone as you'll get in the likes of 5, 12, and 14. So that's going to be the hotspots here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I think so. Shanaka Clay now getting set to go out on his flying lap, so he will just join him as he sets sail through the final corner. Let's ride on board here with Shanaka Clay. Of course, let go by Williams as of recent, but looking to come back yet again. And I tell you what, based on what we've seen from him, he does have the potential to go very strong, and no doubt here at Vegas he'll certainly achieve that. Has got a McLaren right behind him, that of course being Wilson Hughes. Lucas Blakely already retired, so the Red Bull now sending it through the next right-hander, out of the 90-degree right now, through the next slalom. Very tricky around this section, of course. Plenty of long straights where DRS can be utilised. The straight line speed elements are massive as well. If you can get into the aero of another car, it is huge. But it'll be very interesting to see now where the sector times are going to comply. Yellow flags in sector 2 and 3 as now the traffic looks to sort itself out. I believe that is, of course, the two Mercedes that are at the very tail of those that are currently on their outlaps. And from one end of the straight to the other, as we now see Shanaka Clay burst down said straight now. Now let's wait and see as they head down in towards the final chicane. Let's see what is happening here this time. Clay now looking to try and unfold something. DRS open. Wilson Hughes in hot pursuit, also looking to try and get some numbers up. 43.3 in the first sector, 25.6 in sector 2 for Shanaka Clay. And now looking to send it, heading through towards the final corner. Heading down through towards the next left as they now swing through towards the start-finish line. Shanaka Clay looking to get us off to a juicy start. 74 thousandths up on his previous time, but not enough to even jump into the top 5.
Well, there it is then. Shanaka Clay getting another time on the ball with Beresnay, a 30.1. There we go. Now we're starting to see representative times coming onto the board. Now, I've just had a message from Dylan Warren. The grid for those that are not qualifying, so the starting order for the back 7 has already been decided. That is going to be, let me just have a quick look. So it is Jack West, Felipe Schneider, Freddie Rasmussen, then Thomas Ronhart, as I've looked away at the wrong moment, Lucas Blakely, then Dylan Warren. He says, myself cause slow, he says. Dylan Warren, and then it is Nico at the back of the field, that of course being Nicolas Longue. So that is your back 7 decided. So we will have a lobby restart after this session is complete to make sure that the grid is set as it should be. As dancing around the now slow Red Bull was Wilson Hughes, but his time invalidated anyway. So it is a Haas 1-2 at the moment. Beresnay without 30 point, storming 30.1. Tamas Gal getting a 33.53 on the board to see him in second.
Yeah, I mean, Danny Beresnay's pace has been truly undeniable. He has been absolutely stellar stepping in this season, and has definitely come back to, I think, to his old best in many ways. And of course, race winner back in the very first round at Portimao. Since then, 2 P2s on the spin which has been unbelievable. If you take a look back at Spa, a race that arguably he could have won as a result as well of the carnage that we had mid-flow during the race. Tom Manley, though, the unlikely winner, but did take the top step on that occasion. But then he came back and did it again on United States soil, though, on that occasion. Texas, where, of course, he would come second in behind Frederick Rasmussen. But a great chance here this time for Berejnay to maybe go one step higher again and enlist yet another race win. And that would mean opening up the season with a victory and finishing the season with a victory to boot as well. So plenty on offer. And no doubt that battle for P2 is going to be very interesting. And I would never, ever want to count out Ismail Fassi, especially when he too is in the top 3.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you imagine the season bookended by the Hungarian national anthem? Albeit virtually, of course. Yeah, Danny Berejnay can do it. I mean, he's still has that raw pace, that burning desire to compete at the very top level. That's the thing. Everybody in this tier has that. You are talking about the very best in the business, the very top flight of F1 esports drivers here, mixing with those that haven't yet had a chance to prove that they are in amongst this peer and in the process of doing so. That's the thing. Even if you're last in this tier, you're still driving against the very best. You're still considered to be one of the very best. If you're last, if you're last and lapped it into the wall, then people may wonder how the hell you got the seat in the first place. But that being said, everyone is here on merit. Let's not forget that. It's very easy to forget that. The old anecdote, you're only as good as your last race. Whilst true to a point, you have got to bear in mind that everyone proved very often, time and again, that they are genuinely this good. As we're now starting to see people coming back out on circuit, we're getting close to what I call the Banzai phase. The last 3 minutes of qualifying, well, we're in the Banzai phase now. And the next man to cross the line to start his final lap of the session is going to be our current pole sitter, Danny Berejnay.
Yeah, absolutely right. Getting us off once again. And he tends to lead out in those final stages every single time. Obviously making sure he has that clean air. But then again, he doesn't benefit off any slipstream, which might counteract him a little bit. Obviously, he holds a lot of trust, holds a lot of faith in what he can do as a driver. Now, let us know, everybody, in the live chat, who is going to take pole? Will it be Berejnay? Will it be Tamas Gal? Could it be Ismail Fassi? Could it be someone different? Let us know in that live chat, folks. We will, of course, read out your comments as well. But here we are, PSGL finale. I personally can't wait, of course. It obviously has been a sensational season. We have seen it, of course, race in, race out. 12th race this time around. And we've had many different winners as well to boot, though. Jarno definitely the more dominant. 5 wins this season, Chris. You just can't deny that form. Championship winning form.
Were it not for a bad Spain, that would be a storming run. There would have been 6 on the bounce had Spain gone a bit more the Dutchman's way. But again, wherever Jarno goes, his army of followers will follow, and he just performs. He just brings in the points and brings in those results time and again. It is why he is widely considered as the very best. May not have the Esports Championship title under his belt at the moment, but he will most certainly be gunning for it. Enough of that. Danny Berejnay winds it up and drops the hammer for the last time in this quali session.
Yeah, he certainly does. Coming through turn 1 now, and vital to get a good getaway out of turn 1 now, heading through towards turn 2. Again, somewhat of a slalom. He's going to cut straight back in on himself, coming out of the long straight and through towards the 90-degree right-hander. And it's going to be very, very tricky, of course, to certainly mount a challenge for pole, especially when you've got so many talented drivers. He just taps the wall on the left-hand side. Now, has that cost him any time? I've seen a few voices in the live chat suggesting that Danny's for pole. The big question is, can he take pole after that little moment heading through the middle sector now as he bursts his way through and looking to try and improve. Now, he has shown red on my track map in that first sector. It might not be an issue, might just be a computer glitch my side, but so far, so good in accordance to the telemetry, so we won't worry about it just yet, as now Danny Berejnay looks for something a little more here. We'll need to try and dig deep heading through the final sector as we now head in towards the last stages of qualifying. 5 seconds left to go here in normal time, and we're going to be into stoppage time where these final laps will come to an end. Heading through towards the next chicane. Very fast left and right now as he looks to put the throttle on after applying the brakes. Skipping over those curbs as well. Foot to the floor. Can he succeed? He's purple in that first sector. Somewhat near enough an improvement to a 25.5 in sector 2. What's he going to find this time? He does go faster, a 130, 117. Can anyone stop him? Here comes now Jake Benham.
Well, East Van Pookie got home with a second 130.225. Wilson Hughes couldn't improve with a 30.610. Who is next is one of the Astons. It is Duncan Hoffland. What can the Englishman do through that final turn? And that is sixth with a 30.486. Who is next? That was Shanaka Clay. He is slightly back into sixth position with a 130.440 on the board. Tamas Gal can do no more. He has already pulled over his lap, already compromised. This is one of the few circuits where you'll actually see drivers using all of their allowed deployment of ERS throughout their entire quali lap. You don't often see it, but this is a place where you will. More times on the board. Norgrove is done. Benham is done. He's in sixth with a 34.17. As that's Caraton. I think it's just slotted into 12th. Who is next? I think that's going to be Donoso. Can he improve?
Oh.
That's into the wall. So no, that called an end to that one. And the only driver, well, Tamas Gal's crossed over the line in wiggly fashion. But the pole goes to the Hungarian of Danny Beresnay.
Yeah, they could not stop him. Pole position for Danny Beresnay, the one-lap pace. I tell you what, the form continues here in qualifying. Danny Beresnay, illustrious up at the sharp end, and has now managed to enlist the final qualifying session on pole here in PSGL PCF1. Istvan Pukki, a stellar P2 on this occasion for Ferrari, but over a tenth slower than Danny Beresnay. Now, when we consider what we usually see in full qualifying sessions, we generally get between 5 and 8 cars within a tenth of a second. So this is a sensational performance from Danny Beresnay. Istvan Pukki second, Ismail Fassi in third place, Tamas Gal fourth, Jed Norgrove in fifth, Jake Benham in sixth. Further down, let's take you through them. Of course, we do have Clay, Hoffland, Otmir, Suriano, Donoso, Caraton, Hughes, West, Rasmussen, Prejnader, Longe, Warren, Ronha, and then further down, Lucas Blakely, as they will not be partaking. But incredible to say the least. The big shock, though, Jarno Otmir invalidating that final flying lap there, Chris.
Well, it goes to show that even he is not immune to a mistake, a rarity that it might be. That the qualifying session not going his way. So the grid is decided. The drivers leaving this session as the lobby is going to be rebuilt. And what a night's racing we've got. Are they going to stick with dry weather? Are they going to let the weather gods roll the dice? Is it going to be a gamble? I mean, here in wet weather sounds terrifying to me.
It certainly does. We're going to take a quick commercial break, folks, but we'll be right back very, very shortly. Well, welcome back, everybody, to PSGL PCF1 back again for one final time this season and one final time here on F1 23. Another game cycle complete on the PC platform. Yet more history made with Jarno taking another title this campaign as well. Things are going to be a little bit more difficult, though, for him this time after not managing to nestle in that flying lap last time out in that final qualifying session of the season, but a great opportunity for the other Mercedes driver, of course, Danny Beresnay. May not be in the colours of Mercedes, but nonetheless, still a Mercedes driver nonetheless, and on pole position ready for this one. Istvan Pukki, though, Chris. he's been impressive as well. Quite like every performance that he's given and delivered. And another driver touting for an F1 seat. I remember us having an interview with him earlier on this season, and he is still pursuing that F1 esports dream.
And why shouldn't he? He's got the talent to back it up. We've seen him, even though he's a reserve for this season, he is the lead reserve for this season, our lad. And he has come home on the podium twice. Yeah, and in the points another 3 times. 4th in Spa. Despite that one being somewhat of a chaotic race, as you were alluding to earlier. But even still, consistency, regular point scoring, ability to support your teammate, ability to handle the pressure are all talents that F1 esports teams are looking for. Normal racing seat drivers will have to prove their mettle in such ways as well. And as the likes of Brendan Lee and Lucas Blakely have already proven, that the possibilities are most certainly there for those that can prove themselves in esports terms. So yeah, you can't blame him for pursuing the dream. Why shouldn't he? He's got the ability, he's got the attitude to prove he can do it.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. And obviously Ismail Fassi, impressive again in the top 3 in qualifying, P3. It's quite interesting because, of course, we've got this big battle for P2 in the championship. Berejnay on pole, Fassi P3. So there is really an ongoing fight that we're going to see tonight, I think. And obviously with them only being separated by a solitary point, it really makes what's going to happen over the next so laps or so. I mean, I'm not quite sure what the number is just yet, but obviously looking at it on paper, we've got a very thrilling contest ahead of us.
25 laps is what we are looking at here
spot
in
on,
Las
Chris.
Vegas. As 50%. Oh, go on.
No, I said spot on, Chris.
Oh, spot on. I thought you said hold on. I beg your pardon. I thought, technical problem. But yeah, 25 laps of this circuit. Now, unlike your good self, I have not proven to be a very good driver. So doing 2.5 laps, let alone 25 laps, would be quite terrifying for me. You have raced, however, in PSGL colours in the past, Herr Morgan. What would your thoughts be heading into Las Vegas?
Well, I mean, a lot of it is DRS play. I think obviously make sure you stay in behind, and I think just don't burn your battery too early. I think you've got to take your time. Nowadays in PSGL, everything is methodical. Everything is all about strategy, not just necessarily in terms of pit stops, but also the way you apply yourself out on track. And I think we've seen that a lot with Danny Berejnay's performances over the last 2 weeks. If you look back at Kota last time, he was, of course, a victim, essentially, of that final lap. Just did not have the run. Of course, heading down that long straight, if you're in P2, you're in prime position, and he lost out. And that is it could not be explained any more so than that. Freddie Rasmussen took full advantage, and he was able to take the victory. It's a huge difference maker. You know, when you look ahead, it's obviously in the same case here at Vegas, given the fact that we've got a monumental series of straights. When you look at the final sector coming out of Sector 2, you've got 3 long ones, essentially. There may be a slight kink in one of them coming out of Sector 2 into Sector 3, but nonetheless, they still exist. And let me just say, as soon as you get in that aero, especially at Vegas, when you've got those high-speed corners, the chicane itself heading through Sector 3 is still somewhat fast. So you've really got to apply yourself here. And I think very much a chess game players kind of game here. I honestly think you really got to pick your spot.
Yeah, absolutely. So ERS management is going to be so difficult at this circuit. You don't have very many big heavy braking zones compared to the amount of right foot that goes on here in Las Vegas. Yes, it's a 90-second lap, that much we have just seen in qualifying, but you do not have very many braking zones. Turn 5 is one of them. As mentioned, turn 12 is the next heavy one, and turn 14 are your big braking zones. But there's 17 turns in this circuit, and a lot of them are very rapid fire. Turns 1 to 4, all short succession. 6 to 9, all short succession. 14, 15, 16, again, very rapid fire turns. So you're not on the brakes for very much of this lap. And that's a stunning grid rebuild as we're already counting into the session. That's a superb effort.
I tell you what, they don't wait around anymore. They're so well organised, I will say, in PCF1. We're so lucky, to be fair, to have a great group of drivers that do work together, which is absolutely fantastic. Let's just take you through as well the driver standings here tonight leading into this final race. Of course, Otmir, as we said before, already crowned champion with 114 points. He is your champion. Berejnay in second, 64 points. Now, wouldn't count out necessarily, any of the exploits, here from Sauber either. Of course, not forgetting Alfie Butcher. There could be a lot of switcheroos happening in that top 10 in the championship, but I would say the big one to look at is Berejnay and Fassi. 1 point between them, and of course it's the battle between the driver in P3 and the battle in with P2 as well. Both of them starting on the front 2 rows of the grid. It's going to be fascinating to watch, but nonetheless, the drivers are getting set and ready to go here at Vegas. Let us know in the live chat as well as to who you think is going to take victory this time out. I'm going to put you on the fence. Well, I'm going to take you off the fence, Chris. I'm going to ask you to give me your selection. Tell me, who is your choice, or use your selection here tonight?
You had to do it fast.
I'm sorry.
You had to do it,
sorry.
didn't you?
I do it every week. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I'm not. I don't believe your apology, sir. Or who am I voting for? Who am I voting for? Yeah. I should have been more ready for this. I've said before, and I will say it again. I do have a bit of a soft spot for Danny Berejnay. I've known him a long, long time. I've had the great honor of commentating on him on his rise through the esports ranks. So, judging by his pace, I think he is in prime position to turn that pole into a victory. But again, we've seen Jarno come through from way further back than that and still take the top honours. So, difficult to look away from Jarno Opmeer, but if I'm going to put my money on someone, it's going to be Berejnay.
Well, I can see plenty of people supporting you on this. Taze it saying Danny wins. We've got Super Danny saying Reaper. Chaitanya, Sonawane. Apologies if I butchered that, by the way. Also going for Danny as well. We've got the Merc Trio. A lot of support for the Mercedes drivers as standard. Opmeer getting some support from Mark Steele Jr. as well. We've got plenty of other names. Jarno P1 saying Yafun as well. We've got Merc from Avatar. Jakey Benham getting it, or Bentham in this case, from A. Thank you so much for that. Keep that coming. And Tolga Akarlin as well saying Danny for the win. In the meantime, folks, all the lights are currently lit here on track. For the final race of the season, we put pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go here at Vegas. It is Danny Berejnay who leads the way into turn 1 in behind Ismail Fassi. They're trying to move into second place. It could be vital, trying to break Istvan Pukki early on, but already we're seeing the drivers make their way around. A split decision between softs and hards. Majority, though, in that top 10 on the soft tyres as Jed Norgrove goes on the attack early on. No doubt, though, on soft tyres, smoothly does it past Ismail Fassi, but Berejnay leads here at Vegas.
Curious decision from Rasmussen to go for those medium tyres. He's banking on a safety car, I would think, to make a medium tyre strategy work. But we will see. He's been in the game long enough to know what he is capable of. So then, who's the big winners from the start? Not a huge amount of position changing going on. Jed Norgrove, that was a stunning start. He needed to get that one done to get up amongst the soft shot pair ahead of him. So 2 positions gain for him. Still arguing going on. Mirko Soriano up 2, along with Robertson and Lucas Blakely, all gaining 2 positions. So as Jake Benham has managed to leapfrog Ismail Fassi, again the tyre advantage proving good for the Mercedes drivers. 214 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour. I'm not sure what that translates to, about 380 k's, I think it is, along that back straight. The engines are screaming for mercy as they hit the break-ins over turn 14, but everybody has survived the opening lap here at the grand finale of season 36.
Yeah, we're about to start lap 2. Danny Berejnay, no surprise, fastest lap of the race. In the meantime, Mirko Soriano, wow, late on the brakes, very nearly losing it all together, and Tamas Gar was very nearly collected. As a result, just lost his braking, heading through turn 1. How did he survive and stay in P9? It's beyond me. But still, Mirko Soriano chasing after Fabrizio Donoso. Major moments here already on lap 2 as they look to now make their way through towards the next right-hander here in the opening sector, in towards sector 2 now proper very shortly. It's still Berejnay out in front, but it's getting very tight in that 10th place spot as now Wilson Hughes poaches it away from Duncan Hoffland.
Oh, Lucas Blakely is agitating Jarno Opmeer, trying to get alongside, coming through turns 7 and 8. Very, very, I'll say very impossible. Very, very hard to make an overtake in that twisty section, but the Scotsman trying to provoke a mistake from Jarno Opmeer. Good luck with that. I mean, these guys have crossed swords countless laps over numerous different games on every circuit you can think of. There's no way you're going to force someone like Yana Watme into a mistake. Yeah, as Lucas Blakely dumps the battery to get past Yana Watme, but also the tyre advantage proving good for the Scotsman at the moment. And Rasmussen has gotten ahead of Duncan Hofflin. Again, medium tyres winning out over the hards. So if Freddie Rasmussen doesn't get a safety car, he's got two somewhat tricky decisions to make. He's either got to shortchange the medium tyres to go for hards, or he's got to really stretch them out to go for a soft till the end. A safety car, though, or some kind of major incident here in Vegas is not an unusual bet. It's because of how close the walls are, because the nature of any street circuit will mean that a big incident is never usually far away. But we start lap 3, and still everybody looks like they've got all the carbon fibre.
You certainly do. Jake Benham has been on the attack as well, holds the fastest lap of the race with a 1:33.644. And not a bad way to get his initial stint underway. It's very key for those on the softs that they can break away from Fassi in behind, because he will have a faster set of tyres towards the end of the race. Should he adopt the softs late on? No doubt he's thinking of that right now as they look to put the burners on, heading through into Sector 2 this time around. It's all started to heat up here. Berejnay still at the head of the field. Lots of squabbling happening further down. We did of course see a three-wide moment near enough as Berejnay came into the final chicane before ending lap 2. But Istvan Pukki unable to capitalise. I think he was more concerned about defending against Jake Benham, who has certainly looked quick here in this initial stint. He's being hunted down as well by Jed Norgrove, who was mightily impressive in the opening weekend of F1 Esports. Here comes Istvan Pukki, though. He now takes the lead of the race, heading in towards the final chicane here this time around, coming out of turn 14, 15 and 16. He'll now lead, heading in towards lap 4.
Jake Benham a little bit too deep going into turn 14, but then he was doing 220 miles an hour along that back straight. The engine uncomfortably high in tone, ready to detonate itself at a moment's notice, but the Mercedes lives to lap another day. Thomas Ronhaar is in a bit of trouble. He's falling outside of DRS range of Nicholas Longay towards the south end of the field. The rear just not behaving itself for the Alfa Romeo, almost sideways coming through turns 1 through to 4. So he's losing time, and sadly those behind Dylan Warren and Philip Preschneider not faring too much better. Wilson Hughes getting a bit closer. Shanaka Clay coming through turn 5, but again no gain, no loss there. Interesting that a few drivers opting to take a bit of a different line through that particular section. Different lines is difficult here because the track is so narrow, but drivers still exploring where they can find that advantage, where they can find that little bit more grip, or at least try and break the momentum of the driver behind them. So these drivers still doing what they can to maintain or better their advantage.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And also what's interesting is Freddie Rasmussen's selection of tyre choice. Of course, we look back at the mediums. They're a pretty good racing tyre, as are the hards, incidentally. So obviously these drivers are able to use them and utilise them to their advantage. It'll be interesting to see, though, whether Freddie Rasmussen's selection of mediums, but he obviously going that little bit longer than those on the softs, it might tee him up for a decent run heading into the second stint, as now we're seeing a deep dive down the inside from Lucas Blakely, threatening the Red Bull. Of course, the Red Bull currently sandwiched between two McLaren cars. Wilson Hughes in 10th, Blakely in 12th. Duncan Hofflin then watching it all unfold right in front of him here as they now begin the next lap now. Pukki back on the attack again. Jake Benham also looking to try and make a move around the outside, heading through turn 1. Berejnay has retaken the lead, but Pukki under pressure this time from Benham, who's trying to launch himself into that second spot. It's not the first time he's tried here.
Absolutely. Jed Norgrove's got the best seat in the house again, side by side. The Haas and the Ferrari coming down into turn 5. Who's going to win out this time? Berejnay later on the back manages to keep Istvan Pukki behind. Benham has been threatening to challenge the top two for several laps now, but has not found that extra bit of advantage he needs. Siriano was getting close to Fab Donoso for 7th place. Well, everyone is close to everybody else, but comparatively speaking, I should say. The field, I will add, is separated from top to bottom by less than 7 seconds. 20 cars in that field. It's absolutely amazing as we are coming towards lap 5. Here we go once again along that long back straight as people will now leapfrog each other once again. Berejnay has got a little bit of an advantage, but that gap is not going to last long at all. Here they come. Now, whose engine is going to scream for mercy first? All three wide as we're coming down towards that final turn along that back straight. It's Pookie that wins out from Beresnay. Jake Benham again trying to threaten his way through, but just cannot find the space he needs. Pookie from Beresnay, from Benham, your top three.
Yeah, Beresnay shut the barn doors there. He was not allowing Benham through, but look at Jet Norgrove now looking around the outside. Now that is a line that's very risky, but immediately switches through towards turn one. Jet Norgrove in the AlphaTauri. Will he be on top this time as they run wheel to wheel? They made contact, very nearly losing the car altogether, coming out of turn two in towards turn three now. And look at Fassi. He's done this before. The ultimate artist here in PSGL, looking to try and attack these two as they battle it out for P3. Norgrove committing to that outside. Back comes Benham as they ruthlessly fight now. Heading through out of sector 1 into sector 2. Norgrove goes north. He moves up to P3 and descends Benham into 4th place.
Wow, what started as a challenge for second is now relegation to 4th for the Mercedes driver. Benham did what he could to make Jed Norgrove work for it, but did not pay off. Eastman Pookie has actually built up around 0.8 of a second gap to try and mitigate the attack he's about to face. And he's done so whilst using very little ERS energy. So well played from the youngster in the Ferrari. The DRS alone is going to help Danny Beresnay et al. Close that gap back down. Probably is going to prevent the challenge this time around. Is right on board with the Hungarian coming up to the back of Pookie. Now, Danny Beresnay knows not to banzai from that far back. But that being said, he's going to mount a very good challenge up and towards turn 1. Jed Norgrove gets a little bit uncomfortable coming through 14, 15, 16. The AlphaTauri not bidding in quite as well as they come to complete another lap. That's very close again for Benham and Fassi, is it? So, the Williams cuts underneath Benham. Side by side trying to come through turn 1. The soft tyre advantage has gone. The hard tyres are now the tyre to be on.
They certainly are. The hards are certainly coming into their own. And Ishmael Fassi, brilliant strategy call, obviously, to open up on the hard, certainly given where he started on the grid. He may have lost a couple of places, started P3, only sat around P5 and has kept Tamas Gal at bay as we see Lucas Blakely moving up ahead of Duncan Hoffland. Once again, they're starting to bottle up at the front end, and Fassi finding all sorts of pace right now. The hard's getting rubbered in this time at Vegas.
Absolutely so. And as again, the top three. Now, will they start to think about changing their tyres early? They'll want to hang on to them as long as they can. And now Ismail Fassi proving why he is in this tier, why he is considered one of the best on those hard tyres. Has not lost any ground. Overtake is being utilised. DRS and ERS for the Williams. Catapult past Jed Norgrove. Nothing the AlphaTauri can do. Now Fassi in the podium position. Norgrove is trying to counterattack, but no dice as Beresnay has a look on the inside at 14. No dice this time around. Now Ismail Fassi, tyres rubbered in. He's really on the charge. Can he hustle for those top 2 spots? We're about to find out. Shanaka Clay gets past Thomas Gal. Well, no, they're still arguing indeed for real estate here in Las Vegas. Still arguing as they come up towards turn 1 once more. Yeah,
they certainly are. Not only that, Tenoso trying to find his way through. Jarno Opmeer now moves up into the top 10, at least for now, but Mirko Suriano making it as difficult as possible as the Flying Dutchman, the current PSGL champion, 5-time PC champion, 6-time PSGL overall champion, if you include the PlayStation victory as well. He opens up the rear wing as he looks to bring down the hammer upon Mirko Suriano. They run wheel to wheel again. Also Opmeer, remember, hard tyres for him as well. So trying to make this strategy work in this initial stint as they now fly through this next left-hander. The Flying Dutchman still commits to the outside, heading through the chicane. Very tight and twisty, but Opmeer knows how to do it, and he moves up into 10th and now back into points contention once again. Just goes to show it may not work for him in quali, but race trim is where it's at for Jarno Opmeer.
You can never discount him, can you? He has always got the fight. He's always got the pace ready to deploy. Now, Pookie, again, has built up about 0.8 gap and has done so using minimal energy in his tank. Fassi, however, is wanting to get up through the field. He's hustling Beresnay. Beresnay now getting the momentum on Pookie. But Pookie managing to shut the door, just disrupted the Hungarians' momentum at the crucial time. Well defended from the Ferrari.
Yeah, Fassi's pace is unbelievable. I'm looking at it now. He's 0.3 quicker than the 2 cars ahead of him per lap. This is absolutely sensational. The hards now are well and truly rubbered in. The softs now on the decline. They're now in survival mode here, Istvan Pukki and Danny Berejnay. But with the way the strategy is outlined here at this point, it certainly does seem that the cards are stacked in the favour of Ismail Fassi. But don't forget, Shanaka Clay and Tamas Gal also on the same strap. But what would this mean to Ismail Fassi? Not only to take P2, but a first win this season in PCF1. He's gone close so many times. He's come second twice. Well, looking back, obviously one of those occasions was Canada, but also back at Austria as well. This kid's got talent. We call him the artist for a reason.
Absolutely so. Siriano now fighting against Duncan Hoffman. The soft tyres on the Alfa Romeo are absolutely done. The Caraton steams past the TF10 driver, leaving him for dead. So a very opportunistic move from Alvaro Caraton and the Williams. But there's still life in Mirko Siriano's car. He's just working his way through 10 and 11, keeping himself in contention. Well. Fassi should certainly be eyeing up Danny Berejnay. Those hard tyres very much in their window. But he's too far back this time around. Ron Hara Hughes swap round. Wilson Hughes has been really struggling in this phase of the race as he continues to lose another position. Now, Ismail Fassi, again, just getting out of the throttle a little early, coming down into turn 14. He knows he's not going to banzai move from that far back. So, again, very sensible driving as well to keep his pace where it is. But he had a bit of a wobble coming through 14, 15, 16. So his car not entirely comfortable as that's Donoso into the pit. Oh, Siriano speeding in the pit lane as that's going to really hurt his race standings on this one. A great shame. Mediums for Donoso, Siriano and Philip Preisnader also coming in at this time.
Yeah, all three of them now coming out of the pits on medium tyres. So that is the strategy call that has been made by them. No doubt we'll see the rest of the softs come into box. So obviously if they can go onto the mediums, no doubt those that are extending on this stint, they can take theirs that little bit longer because they will have worn that much less. As we're now watching Fassi, who is right behind Berejnay. And Jed Norgrove, who has had a decent race so far as well, has done well to keep Jake Benham in behind, who has been pecking all over the back of him here. Just look at Fassi now, looking to light things up here at Vegas. Will he roll the dice? That's the big question. If you're lucky, Fassi, of course he doesn't really need luck at this point. The tyres now obviously showing signs of wear on the front too, though Pukki has managed to build somewhat of a gap, very nearly a whole second in fact, as now Fassi looks to try and close up. Ideally needs to try and break through now if he can. Someone else who's looking to break through as well is Jake Benham, who is now side by side with Jed Norgrove, heading down through towards the chicane as they make their way in towards turn 13, 14 and 15. Benham unable to make the move on Norgrove, who defended it well, or it might be the case that Benham didn't want to make the move at all.
Quite likely in this early phase of the race, it's not uncommon for drivers to just manage their tyres. In come the soft starters then, or certainly three of them do. Jake Benham choosing to continue at this stage as Lucas Blakely also coming in to discard their soft starting tyres. Bit of a curious decision there from Benham. Is the overcut worth it? Well, I think the overcut is worth it if you can get slipstream from somebody else. Of course, he still has slipstream and, of course, DRS from the back of Ismail Fassi. But Wilson Hughes is, again, he's lost another spot there. It's now down to 13th. Of course, he's gained a few with the pit stops. But I'm surprised that the second McLaren hasn't come in. Wilson Hughes has been losing positions for quite a few laps now. So I would have thought he'd have been in to get rid of his tyres, but he has chosen to continue. Siriano and Blakely are arguing for 18th spot, which is fairly close to wooden spoon avoidance. Philip Preisnader is right there with them as well, so the McLaren nearly slams into the back of the Alfa Romeo as they come through turns 6 through to 9. Yeah, I'm not entirely certain that Jake Benham's made the right call here, but I'm fairly well known for getting tyre strategies wrong. I'll happily be proven wrong again.
Well, he can do something different. It might make a difference to his performance, but what I do want to add is that Fabrizio Donoso has really caught up now with Danny Berejnay and Istvan Pukki, very nearly jumping Danny Berejnay out of the pit lane. And obviously, remember, he boxed onto his set of mediums earlier than the two drivers ahead of him, as now Berejnay swaps with Istvan Pukki. And Donoso also swapping through as well. So there we go. As Benham now comes into box later than everybody else. Just how much time, though, has he indeed lost? I'd imagine there is a fair chunk of time that is going to be forfeited by the young all-star. Caraton also in the pits too, as he looks to come off his set of hard tyres. It's quite early for that stint. As you'd imagine, Fassi will try and take his as long as possible and ultimately finish on the softs at some point. But indeed, Benham falling down the order and well below Jed Norgrove. He needs to put in an almighty stint now. No doubt he's going to look to try and grind something out late on into the race.
Yeah, but he doesn't have DRS, that all crucial advantage off the back of Jed Norgrove. That is going to be painful for the Mercedes. He's going to have to burn a lot of battery if he wants to close that gap back down, and that is going to really bite him towards the tail end of the race. Up top now, Fassi from Clay from Gal, your new top three. Freddie Rasmussen still hanging on in there with the medium tyres. He's going to go for soft now. If he was going to shortchange them for hards, he'd have done it by now. So he's going to go for soft tyres around about somewhere around lap 17, somewhere around there. Ron Haar sizing up Hofland. So, well, how many times have we said those two names in the same sentence as Clay leapfrogs Fassi for the lead?
Certainly does. Shanaka Clay now out in front. The driver that has recently left SRC Esports but still staying on as a coach. Of course, it was well notified and documented that he left the Williams team mid-season during F1 Esports, but now looking, no doubt, to join yet another team. A free agent on the market, but a free agent no longer, as he is now since signed with another team, I'm sure, based off his departure from SRC. I'm sure we'll find out where he's going in the not too distant future. Ismail Fassi, though, haunting his rear wing, will not, I'm sure, leave him whatsoever. Of course, these front three on the same strat, trying to take these hards as long as possible. As now Fassi burns himself, or certainly sends it straight ahead now of Shanaka Clay and takes the lead out on track. But the important thing to note, the current net race leader, including pit stops, is Istvan Pukki. So this is a huge, huge moment in this race for him. Needs to try and start rubbering in those tyres, get those deltas up, and set those faster laps.
Absolutely so. Tamas Gal trying to keep Freddie Rasmussen at bay. Actually bounced off the wall at turn 5. So hopefully that hasn't caused damage to the second house driver as they work their way towards the heavy braking of turn 12. Fassi and Clay glued together. Gal a little bit further back with Freddie Rasmussen in hot pursuit. Jarno Amir just 7.5 tenths back, so he could still challenge if he has a good run. There goes Rasmussen using his tyre advantage over Tamas Gal, and there goes Shanaka Clay on Ismail Fassi as well. So those two working together fairly well to just keep their momentum up, keep leapfrogging each other for the lead. But that being said, well, before I even finish the sentence, slightly further down, we've got overtakes going on. Berejnay retakes that effective race lead from Istvan Pukki, and Donoso ahead of Norgrove for 13th position. More pit stops going on. Rasmussen chooses now to come in. I thought he'd go a bit longer than that. Is he going to go to hard test? No, he's going to go soft. I thought he was going to go soft, but I thought he'd do it a little bit later than that. Rasmussen then, he's going to be right towards the tail end of the field, but with some soft, sticky rubber. Are they going to last 12 laps? Well, we're only one way to find out.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. Clay now out in front in this scenario, and Fassi trying to close him down, but obviously they're still yet to serve their stop. So everyone from Ps1 down to Ps9 still to come into pit and swap on to another set of tyres. No doubt the softs will make an appearance for everyone in that top 9, based on what we already saw from Freddie Rasmussen, who was boxed earlier than anybody else. But in terms of those that are on the latter stints anyway, remember though, he started and was the sole driver starting on the medium tyres in this race, so going well and truly against the grain of everybody else as we now make our way out on lap 14 of 25. Just over 10 laps still to go in this race, and Clay now is now going to face Ismail Fassi once again as he looks to the outside, heading in towards the chicane, heading out now of those final few corners through towards turn 13, 14 and 15. And it's Ismail Fassi who leads the way. Jarno Otmir now moving up into third as well, ahead of Tamas Gal, as Istvan Pukki ascends and moves up into 10th. and ahead of Istvan Pukki ahead of Danny Berejny, I should say, who is now down in 11th spot. But now, in they come, Fassi into the pits, and he's joined by nearly every single hard tyre driver. Dylan Warren, the only driver opting to stay out. So now, we're going to see the strategies unfold.
Curious decision from Dylan Warren. He's looking to try and go. Well, he's going to go to the soft, and but everyone else shortchanging those hard starting tyres. But that's going to put Jack West now towards the tail end of the field as Hughes and Ronha swap round for 17th position. Well, this is going to be interesting to see whether the longer stint or the shorter stint is going to be more beneficial. I would say personally that the short changing the tires is probably going to be okay, but I'm not a driver. I've got many tire calls wrong. I certainly think Dylan Warren staying out that extra lap compared to what those around him are setting. I'm not entirely certain that's the right way to go. Pukki and Berejny and Donoso et al. Are already on the back of the AlphaTauri. So Dylan Warren's going to be absolutely swallowed here. There goes Pukki. Berejny slightly too far back on this occasion, or is he? DRS and a bit of ERS for the Haas. He's topped out at 200.
Oh, no!
Him. Oh, Warren is into the wall. And that's a virtual safety car. Danny Berejny misjudged where Dylan Warren was going. And sadly, a tap on the tail at that kind of speed has sent the AlphaTauri into the wall.
Well, an absolute shocker here at Vegas. Goodness me, what a crash. Dylan Warren out of the race. A VSC and a safety car. I think an actual safety car, according to my telemetry, is out. So into the pits comes everybody else. Everyone that are on the medium tyres, jumping no doubt onto the softs. And incredible scenes here. In fact, a change of tyres, certainly from those that were on the medium tyre, or shall I say on the hards, jumping onto, or shall I say off the softs onto the mediums now, jumping onto a fresh set of tyres. Absolutely mind-boggling scenes now, and we've got a full safety car here out on track. Well, what a shake-up. And look who it's favoured. Freddie Rasmussen, who is the only driver to start on the medium tyres here, Chris.
Yeah, his gamble paid off. I said he was gambling on a safety car, and that is exactly what he's got. He's got 2 laps, though, on those soft tyres. As Jack West is lagging a little bit, that's why he's showing his changing position down in 9th position. Well, we've got 10 racing laps remaining. We'll have a couple of them behind the safety car. Jed Norgrove needs to catch the back of the field before the safety car will declare itself to be coming in. Oh dear, I was actually riding on board with Berejny when that incident took place. And I think what happened there, it can happen so fast, it's difficult to know who's really to blame there. I think Dylan Warren was trying to basically jump to the inside line, knowing that he was going to be absolutely swamped. But that is exactly where Berejny went to complete his overtake. And he was awarded a 5-second penalty, was Berejny. I think he was able to serve that straight away. So it's not showing on the timing tower anymore. Norgrove has caught the back of the field, but the safety car is not declaring itself in. It should be doing so in the next couple of seconds if it's going to do so on this lap. It has not. So the safety car is opted to stay out another lap. So that gives those that have got a lap or so already on their tyres a little bit of reprieve. Freddie Rasmussen, yeah, how that has benefited him, but is he going to be able to hang on to that advantage though? Because of course his tyres are going to die off that little bit quicker. I think Fassi and Clay and potentially Otmir are still looking at potential podium contention here.
Well, I think as far as Rasmussen's concerned, he wants this safety car out as long as possible here at this point. Needs to try and conserve these tyres right to the very end. But I hate to say it, but I think that's going to be very unlikely. The rest of the pack have already shown up right at the tail end of the field. Jed Norgrove has caught up, so is Wilson Hughes. Various drivers have opted for the softs in the closing stint. Istvan Pukki leading that contingent in 10th place. And he's right behind Jack West as well. Jarno Otmir has been thrown in this mix too as well, Chris. I mean, look at the way the strategy's unfolded. He's 4th place. Fassi still in with a great chance. He's only on 2-lap-old mediums. In terms now of what's happening with regards to the fight for P2, due to the crash that Berejnay sustained, no doubt he sustained some damage himself as well. Has he just thrown that P2 away?
Berejnay, absolutely, yes. He was looking at a potential race win with the pace that he'd been demonstrating, but that opportunity is now long gone. There's no way. Well, he's now the last of the medium runners. To say there's no way he can gain positions is somewhat unfair. Is he going to be able to get towards the top spot? Not without help from another safety car, I wouldn't think. We've seen stranger things happen here in sim racing, not just PSGL, F1. Yeah, Freddie Rasmussen would love for that safety car to stay out for longer than it's going to, but I'm just kind of thinking, actually. We saw 10 laps near enough on the starting soft tyres with the car being very heavy. Actually, Rasmussen nearly overtaking the safety car. You can't do that, sir. Not even you can get away with that.
Oh,
now, we've got less than 10 racing laps left with the cars being very light. So there's an opportunity for the soft runners to really capitalise on their new tyres. Still no sign of the safety car coming in. Freddie Rasmussen, you can keep taunting the safety car. You're like, there we go. Right, safety car has decided that it is coming in. So now Freddie Rasmussen needs to back up the pack, wait for the safety car to disappear, and then we'll be racing once more here at Vegas.
Certainly well, folks. I tell you what, make sure you stay tuned in right to the bitter end. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube as well. Hit a like. If you're watching us on Twitch, hit that follow button. Big thank you to every single one of you, as now it comes down to the Great Dane, Freddie Rasmussen, to get us back underway here in the closing stages here at Vegas. And with a roll of the dice, we put pedal to the metal for the second time in this Grand Prix now. It's Freddie Rasmussen who leads the way. Coming through turn one, Tamas Gal on the attack, immediately trying to tackle Thomas Ronhaar, heading through the initial stint. The two drivers representing RAG, but Tamas Gal on top, and now is hunting down the Flying Dutchman Jarno Opmeer as they head down the straight in towards the next right through the 90-degree. A late move here from Duncan Offland. He's going to go side by side with Ronhaar, Aston Martin and the Sauber Esports car together. They'll remain wheel to wheel, but certainly Ronhaar fighting back. He's got the line heading through the chicane, but Hoffland's got him heading through that section. Into sector 2 they'll go, and Hoffland moves up to P6.
Side by sides all over the place. Exactly what we would expect. Berejnay is down into last. Oh, well, last of the cars remaining. So 19th for him. Blakely gets past Carrington for 14th place. There is attack and counter-attack going on all over the place. At the moment, it is Rasmussen from Fassi from Clay, your top three. Now, no DRS available, of course, to our drivers for another couple of laps yet. So there's not going to be huge amounts of overtaking going on, because those of the medium tyres will be conserving their battery. They want to be keeping as much of that energy as they can in the tank. The soft runners will want to get on with it to maximize their tyre advantage at this point. They want to ideally be braking DRS to those on the harder tyre. Not realistically going to happen. There's Hoffland and Ronhaar side by side once again. A good exit for the Alfa Romeo, but he's used a lot of his battery to make that move work. Hoffland still has the inside line coming into turn one, side by side for the pair once more, as Ronhaar loses out to Pookie now. He's found Pookie has really been on the turn with contact. And somehow Ronhaar manages to Tokyo drift his way through turn 4, and he loses another spot to Benham and another one to Longuet in the process.
Absolutely incredible scenes here as now once again the Ferrari tying up here with the Sauber car now, but they scrape the wall and the end plate comes off. Thomas Ronhaar's end plate. He's lost the entirety of his front wing, and now Mirko Siriano, his teammate, is running his tail as well, and a virtual safety car has been brought out. And because of the debris that made its way out onto the circuit, another reprieve for Freddie Rasmussen here now at this point. And Ismail Fassi, here at the stage, sat behind him, no doubt licking his lips, hoping. I mean, Freddie, I think, just wants to get this going here at this point. But, I mean, a major moment between the Ferrari. I think it was Longuet and Ronhaar.
I do believe it was. Yeah, Ronhaar getting crushed into the wall. And front wing coming across there. Rasmussen wants to get on with it. He wants to really break away from Fassi Atal behind him. But of course, he has a delta to maintain. He can't just absolutely although saying that, he's still doing over 200 miles an hour along the Vegas Strip. Now, realistically, they shouldn't be gaining or losing any advantage. But the VSC is not that perfect. There will be gains and losses made in relative terms throughout the VSC period, but the biggest loser is going to be those that need to come into the pits once again, as that's Donoso coming in. Why is Donoso coming in? Is he got trouble as well, I wonder? He was on soft tyres already. As Blakely, oh dear, drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC, Lucas Blakely. So if he serves it, he will not be able to appeal it, as that is a new front wing going on to the Aston Martin. So that's why Donoso came in.
Yeah, we had a big moment there as well. Istvan Pukki again getting caught up, this time with Tamas Gallo, has now moved up into 5th. Still hunting down after Jarno Opmeer here at this point now too. So it's all happening up at the front. 5 laps of magic still to go. Here in the closing stage is the final race on PSGL PCF1 on F1 23. Ismail Fassi looking to finish his season with a dynamite finale as well, with Rasmussen, of course, winning last time out at Texas. He's looking to go 2 for 2 in the United States on the American continent. Fassi looking to take his first win of the campaign as well, after going close on 2 occasions already. But the sister Red Bull is now on an assault, because here comes Shanaka Clay, who's looking to stick his oar in as well. But Fassi looking to go deep. They're going to commit to the chicane now. The Williams splits the difference, and Fassi, he's so fast, the artist creeps into the lead of the race, and now Clay moves up to 2nd, dropping Rasmussen down to 3rd. Could that be the end of Rasmussen's day here in Vegas?
Well, unlikely. There's going to be life yet on those tyres. But we will see whether he's got any time left, as Pukki banzais the inside of Tamascal coming into turn 1. Pukki has been on an absolute charge since he fitted those Red Bull soft tyres, trying to push his way past the Haas. The Haas now has the inside line and gives Istvan Pukki a bit of a shove back. You're not getting through like that, he says. Somehow Ron Haas still hasn't pitted. He's got a different wing and still won't bring his car in. He wants to go to the end with a fair significant chunk of his car missing. I can't see what that's going to benefit him, but he's doing it anyway. Whether he likes it or not, he is staying out there with a dead front wing. As Pukki again moves on the inside and gives Thomas got a bit of a punch in the face there, coming through 7 and 8. Now he has the inside line, tries to outbrake the RAG recipient, and Tamascal loses another spot to Benham as a result.
Yeah, I don't think Tamascal is going to be very appreciative of that. That's going to go down like a lead balloon here at this point now. And look at this, Jake Benham now on the assault on Istvan Pukki. 73,000 between them as they brush through the next left-hander. They got very close to contact. I think there was definitely a car that was looking very uncomfortable. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Benham. Of course, Duncan Hoffland in the mix of all this as well, looking to promote himself up to P7. 7th heaven this time for Duncan Hoffland, as he now looks to close up on Jake Benham. Up at the front now as we see a battle for the lead now, and Shanaka Clay, the free agent, takes the lead here on lap 21. Again it swaps, but Fassi is definitely far from done, as is Rasmussen, and don't count out the Flying Dutchman, Jarno Opmeer.
Oh, 3-second penalty with Tamas Gal. That's going to nail his race shot. In essence, Marcus Ariano very nearly hit the wall as Blakely's in trouble. No, look at Blakely's in the pit.
Yellow flag,
West
safety
is
car.
into the wall.
Safety car, Jack West is out. It's a safety car, Chris.
Oh my goodness me, where? I don't know where Jack West actually came. It was somewhere around turn... Oh, it was down at 14. It was down at turn 14 when the Alpine has come to rest. Well, everyone is past the pit lane. Fabrizio Donoso, he has got the opportunity to pit for fresh, soft tyres.
It's a good time for Ronha. What about Ronha? Front wing.
Well, yeah, but he hasn't got enough time to make up that kind of deficit. But again, we'll see. Donoso's got nothing to lose. He's already in the back of the field. It's mediums going on the Aston Martin. Again, curious decision. He may not have had any fresh soft left. So that may be why he's gone for that particular decision. Now, we will have 2 full racing laps left, irrespective of how long it takes for people to catch the safety car. Oh, ironically, Donoso's actually catching the back of the safety car. He's a lap down. The safety car's moved over. Fair enough. He doesn't have to sit behind it. I kind of had a vision there of Donoso lining up behind the safety car, not realising what he has to do. No, thankfully he does know what he has to do. Past the safety car he goes, and now he has got to catch the back of the field. Well. Where is this going to shake up the field? I genuinely have no idea.
Well, I'm going to be absolutely frank. We have seen some hideous moments, I think, through the course of this race. But I suppose that's Vegas, isn't it? Close walls. But some of the chicane moves have been absolutely outrageous. And I must say, I think there's going to be a very few bitterly disappointed drivers out there, especially if you're Tamas Gal as well, who had every chance to deliver. He, of course, whether his car is in good shape, I'm not sure, but already we're seeing more cars come into the pits and looking to make changes off their compounds of tyre. Pookie opting, no doubt, for those fresh softs. Otmir doing the same. Wilson Hughes in the pits, too, no doubt, looking for a fresh set. Ron Haar also coming in for that front wing change, no doubt, and needs to as well, because obviously that car is in particularly rough shape. Has come in. So there we go. The Dutchman now coming back out with the new front wing. He's ahead of Wilson Hughes and ahead of Jed Norgrove, and still Donoso hasn't caught up with him. Unfortunately for Donoso, these stops have negated his strategy choice because they're all on softs, fresh softs, against his medium tyres.
Yeah, so Donoso, he had no real option. He either didn't pit and stayed on dead tyres, or he went on to the mediums, or fresh on the mediums, and in the hope of achieving something. It's going to come up with nothing unless there's an almighty great incident with those that haven't stopped. But this is very interesting as well. Look how many people didn't pit. We'll have 2 full racing laps, so the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. Now, will it be enough for the likes of Fassi, Otmir, Pookie, etc. to be able to capitalise on their brand new soft tyres, or will the top 8 be able to defend on a circuit that's already difficult to overtake on? That's going to be the biggest question.
Oh, settling, Chris. I tell you what, this is going to be a hellacious ride for this very final portion of the race. The final safety car. I suppose thankful in many ways of that. We want to see some on-track racing action. It is going to be balls to the wall here this time at Vegas as we now look to get set once again. Shanaka Clay in control of the pace. Let us know in the live chat as to who you think is going to take victory here at Vegas. We want to hear from you. Let us know. 2 racing laps left to go, and Shanaka Clay is going to lead them down the final straight before they curtail through the final corner and begin lap 24 of 25, the penultimate lap of the race. 2 Red Bulls up at the front. Shanaka Clay ahead of Freddie Rasmussen with Duncan Hoffland in the mix. Tamas Gal, despite a penalty, in 4th place, but it's all down to Clay. And once again, for the 3rd time, we put pedal to the metal here at Las Vegas, and we're heading towards turn 1 now, this time with Clay comfortably ahead. Longay now going side by side with the Haas, 2 Ferrari powered cars. The Ferrari itself, tenacious no doubt, as Longay, the Frenchman, looking to try and deliver a decisive blow against Tamas Gal this time in the closing stages of the race. Looks to the outside now, heading through towards the next 90-degree right-hander as he beckons his way through. The prancing horse skips ahead. 4th place for Longay. Next on his list, Duncan Hoffland.
Oh, it's trouble for the back. That's a spin for Preisnader. Philip Preisnader is out of the race now. That will there. He's retired that one. He'd actually come to rest and retire the car manually. But look at Fassi. Ismail Fassi is up 3 places from when the safety car just came in, I should say. So he is absolutely storming. Now, there is no DRS, no ERS. No ERS, what am I on about? He's used very little ERS, is more the point I'm trying to make. Now he's starting to burn the battery. Now he means business. Ismail Fassi on the back of Tamas Gal. Now, Tamas Gal's going to lose that position anyway because of that penalty that he is carrying. Whether that gets overturned, that's up to the stewards. But Fassi is really in a position to hustle. Will he get the top spot? He's going to have to do some absolutely huge moves if he wants to challenge for that top spot. He catches the exit line at turn 15.
Benham's off as well. Benham's lost it, and unfortunately, he now moves to the back of the field, but it's all happening further up as we now join them on lap 25, the final lap of the race. Shanaka Clay still leads. Rasmussen in 2nd, but it's all about Ismail Fassi, who now jumps ahead this time of Tamas Gal, heading through the 1st sector out of turns 1 and 2. The Williams ascends. A major W potentially in the wings here for Ismail Fassi. He's already ahead of Danny Berejnay. He will take P2 in the championship. Should he bring this home? Down the inside here now, Nicholas Longay looking to utilise every portion, every nugget, every granule, every grain of this circuit as he looks to move himself up to the lead of the race.
It's a pixel-perfect move for Ismail Fassi. He managed to run for longer into a defensive posture that he simply couldn't maintain. The Williams is now up to 4th. His next target is Duncan Hoffland. Now, oh my goodness me, this is absolutely nuts. Well, what about the Red Bull pair? Oh, how are they going to play this? Rasmussen is surely not going to attack Shanaka Clay. They've only got this lap to do anything. As that's Jed Norgrove in trouble. He's now spun at the back of the AlphaTauri. Duncan Hoffland is falling away from the Red Bull pair. Though they are going to have a go at each other, is Clay and Rasmussen. And Fassi has burned everything he had in the battery with the podium eluded. The Red Bulls are side by side. Shanaka Clay only just manages to fend off the advances of Freddie Rasmussen as we scream towards the line for the final time.
Shanaka Clay with a point to prove. He left Williams. He was no longer needed. But answering back here in Vegas, he has won the Las Vegas Grand Prix. It's Shanaka Clay. Bam, wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. His first win of the season. He has gone close on frequent occasions. A point scorer on several races this campaign and season. 35, and has now taken a first PSGL PCF1 victory this season. And in what style he did it too. Incredible display. Amazing stuff here from Shanaka Clay. And I tell you what, credit to Ismail Fassi as well. A very ballsy strategy towards the end, but wasn't able to cultivate it into a dynamic finish. Credit to the two Red Bulls, however. Of course, we're categorising Shanaka Clay as a Red Bull driver here at this point, just based on the mere fabric of the car he was driving. Freddie Rasmussen on aged soft tyres, utilising the safety cars that we did have to extend their length of wear. Oh, amazing. Truly sensational. Shanaka Clay, he has had everything thrown at him this year. Losing out on a seat in F1 Esports. I am sure, though, he's at the top of the shopping list from many a team. Let's take you through the final results. It's Shanaka Clay, your race winner. He takes home the plaudits and all the glory. The final winner on F1 23 here at PSGL PCF1. Freddie Rasmussen in second. Duncan Hoffland takes third place. What a performance from Freddie as well. 16th to second. Great race from him. Ismail Fassi, 4th, and takes P2 in the championship with Nicholas Longuet in 5th. Jarno Opmeer in 6th. Further down, Thomas Ronhaar, 7th. Wilson Hughes, 8th. Istvan Pukki, 9th. Tamas Gal in 10th. And the pace looks so good for Tamas Gal as well. He was a bit unfortunate to say the least. Mirko Siriano, Alvaro Caraton, Fabrizio Donoso, Lucas Blakely, Berejne, Benham, Norgrove, Prejneda, West and Warren further back at the tail end of the field. Quite a number of retirements through the course of that race. But what a performance, Chris, from one, needless to say, one Freddie Rasmussen, but it wasn't to be him today. It was Shanaka Clay who took top spot. What a performance from him. And someone who, like I said, he has had his trials, his tribulations, left Williams, should really be in a seat this season, you know, regardless. One of the greats, in my view, or potential greats. Probably one of the most, you know, underrated talents, I think, on the grid. And what a performance in those closing laps.
Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes you get lucky, but you've got to play the cards as they are dealt. And he turned the strategy to his advantage, even fending off that very, very late charge by his teammate right at the very end. Freddie Rasmussen so close to making that strategy work. But the top three were within a tenth of one another or within a tenth of each car as they crossed the line. It was so close, so hard fought. But Shanaka Clay, take a bow. Yeah, just a reminder, folks, I know there's a lot of comments in the live chat. The champion was decided quite some time ago. It was Jarno Opmeer, of course, who was champion. He was champion prior to this race, so no harm, no foul. Mercedes also crowned champions before, but what this has decided is that P2 in the championship. It will, of course, go to Ismail Fassi, and what a performance on his part too. He certainly gave it everything. What a display from the young man. In fact, we're going to bring in now for an interview the one, the only Shanaka Clay himself. And I tell you what, it's one interview I've been dying to have this season because what this young man's been through has been outrageous. Shanaka, hope you're keeping well. What a performance, what a display, and a chaotic race at Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you'd expect from Vegas. Yeah, coming to this with very, very little preparation, but it's always worth putting herself on track in Vegas, because anything can happen from anywhere on the grid. You know, it's one of the most hectic races, if not the most hectic race of the calendar. So yeah, thought I'd come in, have some fun, and yeah, it ended a lot more fun than I expected.
It definitely looked a lot more fun than you expected, and you've had a real topsy-turvy year, because obviously leaving Williams Esports, someone, and I've said it time and time again, top of the shopping list, I think, for various teams, I think, that are looking for drivers. Obviously, we have seen lately that you have been making some moves in terms of the driver market. I know that you've left SRC, but you're still staying on as a coach, as opposed to the driver that you were booked for. Can we sort of get some hints as to whether it will be an F1 esports seat? Don't have to say the team, but F1 esports seat?
I mean, it's always been the goal, for sure. I didn't expect to be out of a seat for the current season, so the goal is always going to be to get back on the grid. Where it will be, who knows? Whether it can be, who knows? But yeah, I think the near future is bright, and yeah. Let's look for some news coming soon.
Yeah, saying a lot without saying a lot. Like that a lot. Brilliant. Fantastic. I mean, obviously, Shanaka, a fabulous season for you in PSGL. I mean, you've come in, you've had your big moments. We did say that this is you getting back to your very best form, but a victory here, nonetheless, to close out the F1 23 game cycle at PSGL. I mean, that is no mean feat. That is a big deal, right? I mean, naturally, it tees you up perfectly heading into yet another game cycle. And looking ahead, like you said, positive signs, and you can look ahead in the right manner, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm putting, as you say, the best foot forward into the new game. Really good energy now, heading forward. So just going to keep pushing how I am, you know, get my head down, and hopefully next year and next season is a good one for myself, wherever it may be.
Yeah, and was there a sigh of relief when the safety car came out? I know for many that started on the hards, I think you were probably thrilled, I think, for that first safety car to come out. Maybe not so much for the second one.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting one. I would have liked to see how the race would have played out. I think me and Ismail were placed to have a good run at the leading pack. Obviously, it would have been tough to overtake them, but definitely possible with the tyre delta we had. But yeah, the safety car certainly helped us. The second one, I was very scared when most people behind me pitted. I thought we made a potential mistake, but in the position I was, I couldn't really throw away the trap position. So thankfully and fortunately, it was the right decision to stay out.
Definitely was. I mean, fantastic, fantastic display from you, Shanaka, and we wish you all the very best. Congratulations on a very important win, and we look forward to seeing where you end up in the near future.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you so much. Shanaka Clay, everybody, joining us live here in the commentary box. I'm now going to bring in the one and only Big Dunk, Duncan Hoffland. A warm welcome, a podium as well, Dunk. I mean, I've got to say, busy race. I was just talking to Shanaka Clay. He said exactly the same as me. Quite chaotic, but a big result. And I think, obviously, if you started on the hards, I think you could breathe some sort of a sigh of relief when the first safety car came out.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that was that was good. It obviously was very lucky, you can say like that. And then it was just about keeping it clean for that second stint, basically. And then I think I picked up damage at the first VSC as well. So that was no ideal. So then it was just about surviving in the first sector, and then obviously with wing damage you do have a little bit more top speed, so actually it was not too bad to get the damage, but yeah, very happy to take P3 at the end.
Yeah, and incredibly enough, your last lap was actually your best lap of the race as well. So you definitely came into your own, coming right in towards the very end. I could see you coming up towards the line. You really sent it through the final corner. Was there ever a risk that you might not even finish the race?
Well, that's we will think about that later, you know.
I saw it.
No, to be honest, yeah, it was Ismail was right behind me, so I was like, I need to finish out of him, so just send it as hard as I can. And then there was two Red Bulls were ahead of me, so I had to move a little bit to the right to avoid them. But it was very close as well. I think 700s behind Freddy and 1.5 tenths behind Shanaka, so very close finish as well.
Yeah, it was very, very tight between the top three. Fascinating to watch as well. And naturally, you yourself, someone that has been through the mill, you've been part of league racing now for an awful long time. Yet another game cycle concluded on F1 23. How do you reflect that your game cycle has gone as such? Of course, we've had many seasons across in this very game, F1 23. How do you feel that your period has gone over the course of that game being out and about?
Well, I'm looking back at it quite positive. I think in this PSGL season, I've done 3 races, and I scored points in every one of them. I think my first was 4th, second was 7th, and then this is 3rd. I picked up penalties in the first 2 races though, so I dropped a bit. Same for WR, to be honest. Finished P7 in the standings with basically a full esports grid. So I'm looking back at it very positive, very good results. Qualifying, still need to work on it, but that's already since F1 2019, I think. But yeah, races always been up there. Good results, consistent results, and yeah, let's see what the future brings.
Yeah, main seats are obviously the objective heading into the next season or so.
Of course, George.
Good man, love to hear it. Duncan, thank you so much, mate. Always a pleasure having you with us. Congratulations on the podium.
Thanks, George.
Thank you, mate. Duncan Offland, everybody, driver for Aston Martin. And, of course, incredible. I mean, we won't get to talk to Freddie, unfortunately. He's not keen to do interviews, generally. So we won't be hearing from him. But it's interesting to hear from Shinaka. Positive vibes, Chris. Whilst, of course, he didn't say a lot, I think there was a lot in what he said.
There was a fair amount of alluding going on there, wasn't there?
Yeah.
From a man born in the same town that I'm from. I do believe that he is from Reading, same as I am. So again, bit of a soft spot, bit of favouritism. I'll take it. I'll take that accusation. But he's proven that again, when he's relaxed, when he's in that zone, he can absolutely get the results. Yes, fine, he has something swing his way, but that race could have very easily gone against him. The safety cars, the way they fell, the way everyone else was really clambering position, that could easily have swung against him, and he did exactly what he needed to do when he needed to do it to secure the win.
He did, and he did it in convincing style as well. And obviously, I think we've got to give a big hat tip as well to Ismail Fassi, because, I mean, on paper, maybe he shouldn't have boxed for the softs. Do you think at the very end, do you think he hindered his race at that point, Chris?
Damned if he did, damned if he didn't, I think. He made the best of the situation that he found himself in. Some of his moves were a tad borderline as to whether they were really in the spirit of the regulations and what have you. But he gave it his all. It was one of these things that, like I say, he would have either had to really heavily defend or he was going full out attack. And he'd proven earlier in the race that attacking was more his style for this race. There's calls to have the safety car removed. There's calls to keep it there. There's always calls about that. But you can't argue that it really did spice up the race.
Yeah, he definitely did, folks. And I tell you what, you've really spiced up our season, our game cycle here at PSGL. We've really appreciated every single one of you tuning in, week out as we've gone live. And it's unbelievable to think that all the way back from where we started at season 27 on the PC platform, we are now here at season 35. I find it phenomenal. I really can't describe it. And I owe, and everyone at PSGL owes you all a massive thank you for your unwavering support over that period. So if you haven't done so already and you want to show more support, hit that subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube, and also leave a like. Why not, of course? We will get videos out as well. We do, of course, have the highlights on display. You can check those out as well from prior races as well. If you're joining us on Twitch, big hello to you guys as well. New platform for us this season. Make sure you hit that follow button to stay up to date with when we go live at PSGL. And also don't forget the socials at Premier Sim GL on Twitter, Instagram, and also TikTok, where we have now hired a videographer to take over and start producing videos for us on TikTok. So make sure you check those out. There's some really cool features on there. He's doing a bang-up job. So well done to him. If you want to check me out as well, folks, ignore that Twitter tag down below. It doesn't exist anymore. It's at It's George Morgan TV. You can find me. No, it's not. It's at It's George Morgan. It's George Morgan, not It's George Morgan TV. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And Chris, where can they find you, good sir?
As much as I'm not particularly active on social media, you will find me at King Kodiak _UK.
Yeah, that's where you can find him, folks. And I just want to say again, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. That brings PSGL on F1 23 to a close. I want to thank everyone from Big C to you guys at home, to Chris, who's joined me in the commentary box here. Chris, thank you so much for joining me once again. It's been a privilege for the races I've had with you this season.
The honour and pleasure is all mine to be alongside the George Morgan. But to echo exactly what you've said, George, we are ever so thankful for all the support that you lovely spectators have given PSGL over the years. Long may it continue, and long may PSGL reign as the place to see the very best go at it for those all-crucial esports seats.
Yeah, big thank you as well to Nathan Ritchie and Dan Field as well, who have also brought their voices to this broadcast, to this stream, to this channel as well. We look forward to seeing you next time as well for Season 36. That'll be on F1 20. We'll be on F1 24 when it comes out soon enough. It's unbelievable we've come so far. Jarno Opmeer, of course, crowned our champion. Mercedes crowned champions once again. Jarno taking championship number 6. Will he make it a magic number 7 next season? We'll find out soon enough, folks. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.
He's got the inside, Opmeer is through on the left-hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the ghost is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.